What's up, everybody? Stacking Surfer here. Welcome to the channel. We're going to have a great chat today. This is our weekly live stream, and hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. I'm getting over a throat cold. I actually feel fine. It's just all here. So hopefully, you guys can hear me okay. But I've got a special guest today, Nyx Coins. I was doing quite a bit of shows with her in the past, and it's been a while since we've been together on a live stream. So I'm excited to have her here. Um, Before we get there, if you guys haven't done so already, hit the thumbs up and also the subscribe and the bell icon. That'll basically wake up the algorithm, and it'll also help you guys not miss any other great videos that are coming out. I've got some awesome videos coming out pretty soon with John Eric from Gorilla Pro Customs. He makes these killer cases for your coins and also for your cash. And I had a great interview with him last week at his store. And I just need to get edited, and we'll probably get those out next week. And then also, I've got a new series coming out on coin grading. And I'm going to be introducing you to the co-founder of PCGS and the person that created the first grading set for PCGS. So those will be coming out probably later next week. And we'll have probably a couple videos coming out per month on that. So I'm excited for those as well. So real quick, excuse me. I wanted to point out a couple things here on X, and I'm going to bring Nick on. And Nick, welcome to the
Hi,
show. How are you?
good. How are you?
I'm pretty good, but I've been better.
Long time no see.
Yeah, it's been too long, so we'll have to do
I
this
know
more
it.
often. But um, life goes on. I know we get busy, and there's a lot of things that we have to kind of catch up on and do. Um, Nick, I wanted to bring up a couple things I found on X and
Sure.
get your thoughts on it too.
Okay.
So I'm gonna share this real quick as I pull it up here. Because I think there's always interesting things out there that a lot of us. Oh, we got to add that. There we go. A lot of us have different opinions on. So I don't know how many of you know who Rick Rule is, um, but he's got a pretty good track record for being out there talking about precious metals and other investing. And this is an older video, I believe, of him talking about. Um, Actually, it might be kind of recent too, but a 50% correction in gold would not surprise him at all. Is that? Could you even believe a 50% correction in gold right now, Nick, with everything that's going on out there?
No, I really am surprised by that, to be honest with you.
Yeah, that's probably the most extreme
Yeah.
pessimistic view that I've heard. And I just, in my mind, the only way that that could happen is if everything in the world goes completely to peace, and somehow there's no issue with fiat dollars anymore. Like, I
Yeah.
just don't know how. I don't know how that gets fixed.
I don't think
Maybe we
with the
find free
US,
energy or something.
well, with the US debt as well, I just don't see that happening.
I just don't see it happening. So, you know, we could have a correction. I think before the show you were talking about $3,200 gold.
Mhm.
Um, I've had Kevin on from North Star Charts. I think we had him on about a month and a half ago or so, and a couple months before that, he looked at some charts and said that maybe we could end up seeing something around a $2,800 gold or a $3,000 gold retest a bottom, and that would be if there's weakness that's coming in. Well, that 200-day moving average continues to move up higher as the price of gold continues to stay higher. And so I think that that limit is now starting to move up to 3,000. 3,200 is actually probably a pretty valid number that is kind of a
Yeah.
bottom we could expect.
Yeah, I really don't see it going below 3,200.
I think it's hard to see it below that. I agree.
But if it goes to 28, I'm okay with that. I mean,
If it
wouldn't
if it
everybody
goes to
like to
20, I'm gonna buy a lot more.
yeah,
So
right? So, I mean, that wouldn't upset me a bit. I would love to see it and I would hope to see it, but I don't, and I can't see it going below 32.
So these were the comments from that. Here's one that says, "My gut says 3K. We'll never see this again," meaning we'll never go below 3K.
Yep. I'm saying
So anyway,
32. Right. Yeah.
there's a lot of comments on that one. That was getting a lot of attention. This is another one that's just interesting. So this is coming from Kevin at North Star too. And what he said on a few other charts, Nick, is that oil tends to follow gold and silver's moves. And so this is something just for those of you that are into mining stocks, just to be aware of, that if we see a massive move up in the price of oil, that could affect the earnings for some of the mining companies. Um, it's just something to be aware of. It's not
And
necessarily an
today,
indicator to get
and
out of
today,
that, but it's
oil,
something to watch.
and today oil went up quite a bit, but then the market made a correction on it as well today.
It did. So this is what you call like a descending wedge, right? So there was a breakout and then it does a descending wedge. So basically it has like a statistical chance of like 80% going up, 20% going down. Chart guys cannot see the future. They don't know everything. So do not go buy things based on just what you see in charts until
Mhm.
there's an actual confirmation of it breaking above this and driving quite a bit. But I thought that was interesting. And then we have the news with Israel and Iran going on right now.
Mhm.
Um, and anyway, you've got that, but that's going to affect oil pricing too, especially if Iran closes off the Strait of Hormuz and oil can't get out of there. Another thing I saw that I thought was pretty cool here is just showing how much gold production comes out of the different mining companies that are out there. Just kind of a cool chart. So I've been doing a little bit more on here on X just to look at things. We covered some of this last night too around platinum. Um, but there's a lot going on here, Nick.
Mhm.
This one here is kind of what I wanted to concentrate a little bit more on talking about today, silver. So I've got one of my favorite silver bars that was a gift from Nick. So this is really cool. It's a license plate. It says Surfer on it, and it's 2 ounces. I wanted to see if you could tell us a little bit about this. How did you find this, and where did you get it from?
I saw Silver Heist had one, and it says, does it say Silver Heist or it says Heist?
I think
And
it
it
says
had,
Heist on
yeah,
his.
and it was a Massachusetts plate, and I was like, oh my gosh, I've got to have one. So right up on my thing there too, I have a Maine State plate that has, and it says Patriots on it. So vanity plates are very popular here in New England and in my state. And so I couldn't put my license, my real I can't tell you what's on my license plate, but it would I couldn't put that on my silver and actually show it because then it would be too obvious.
I Yeah, but you ordered them, right? They came from, I think it was a New York something.
Yeah, it was, and I don't recall because it had to have been about a year ago, maybe 2 years ago.
Yeah. So I think it's a person on Instagram
Yeah, yes, and he
that
does
does
those.
quite a bit of stuff.
Mhm.
So if I can find his information, I'll put it into the description. But they're really cool. Like these, I think these are great little gifts for people. You know, it's like, what do you get for Father's Day, right?
I think, yeah, I
Um,
think they're really neat, and it wasn't as expensive as you would think. Of course, it's going to be much more over, spot. Of course, expect to pay that premium on those, but they're very neat. They come in the capsule. You don't have to find a capsule for it, so it's worth every penny, in my opinion.
I think it's awesome, and it it's the only license plate I have that goes up in value. All the rest of them cost me money every year. So
Well, same, yes, because yeah, we have to register our car every single year here, and it's
yeah.
very expensive.
I've got a couple of those right now too, and unfortunately, yeah, they
And
kind of all hit in
I'm
the
gonna have
same
to get
months.
another one. I'm gonna have to get another one because our main state plates have changed this year. So we got all new designs on our license plate. So um, on our plates it has chickadee, and then we had a lobster, and it says vacation land on the bottom because that's what they say Maine is. It's a vacation land. So now it has a pine tree on the lake on the plate. So I got to get a new one.
Yeah, I wonder if they're going to come out with any new California license plates. And if
Well,
they did,
you
I
could
want to
just
hear from
burn.
the Flames.
You could just burn the other ones. I mean, instead of recycle them, just burn them.
I don't know, but
melt, melt them.
for those of you in the chat, this would be funny. Based on everything going on in California the last couple of years, what would be the new California license plate? You
Flames,
know, Maine
fire.
had lobster, right? So what would California have on it? put it in the chat. So Nick, looking at silver, I think this is amazing. I don't do a ton of charts, but I am learning more and more about them, and I do understand how to read the basics of them. And I do try to follow them to help me understand when we're in times where it's better to do more dollar cost averaging or to put a little bit more towards dollar cost averaging versus times when I might pull back a little bit. And we'll come back to all of your comments in just a second here, but I've never seen anything like this, where it's basically a 45-year cup and handle. And so what you're seeing here is, just imagine this is like a cup of coffee, right? You've got these two touch points where silver hit the top back in, I thought it was more like 82, but maybe that's 81, and then 2011 or so.
Yeah, it was
And
2011. There was something going on. I don't remember, but there was something. Well, you know what
yep,
happened in 81 and 82 or 82 era. And
yep.
then, but I can't remember exactly what the event of 2000 or was 2011. Something big happened and I don't recall what it was, but it went up and it went down very quickly.
Yeah, I forget exactly what was going on there. Maybe someone in the chat can remind us. But the one that happened in 82 really was more of a designed, uh, you know, basically silver rush. You had the Hunts brothers buying up a ton of silver until the rules were changed, and they weren't able to redeem everything and deal with it the way they wanted to, and it basically crashed the market on them. So when I look at that, I've kind of felt like that's not necessarily you know, a natural high. It was kind of manipulated a
No, it
little
was
bit.
manipulated quite a bit, and it was by the Hunt
I just
brothers.
don't know at what point they started doing it. So you kind of see this valley at 74, 75, where it's flat. I don't know if they started that whole thing or where they pushed it up to. But the one in 2011 at least shows that silver has the ability to hit those numbers. And we're starting to approach that right now.
It
And
does.
so
It does have the
basically,
ability, but it does have the ability. But then, of course, it went right back down. It wasn't like it stayed there a period of
yep.
time. So, I don't know if that's really good to look at.
Well, so it's an indicator, right? It's not something to say this is what's going to happen. So to your
So
point, Nick,
right. So we
we
can look at those
yep,
dates and just say what happened to make it go as high as it did, and then of course what made it crash back down.
exactly. And so we did have a lot of inflation in the 80s, well, 70s, that kind of
Yeah, it
led into
happened.
this in the 80s. We had a little bit, I guess you could say, back when they started putting the money printer back on in 2008, 2009. So there may be a little bit of that there too. And we don't have the printer on all the way yet. It's a trickle of printing going on. So basically what this chart is showing is that we could see a confirmation if we get to 50, let's say by maybe this time next year, if it hits 50 on silver and it stays above this line and it tests the line and then it goes higher, most likely you're going to have a massive silver run. And like you said, Nick, you have to look at the circumstances, what was going on when we had these other silver runs. And
Think we lost Surfer.
I
I
think
was like, at first I saw myself on the screen. I'm like, oh my gosh, you must have made a mistake. And I was like, we lost Surfer.
I just got booted from my own program. I've never had that happen. Now, StreamYard was having some issues yesterday, right, Nick?
Yeah, but let's look who didn't get booted off. What does that tell you, Surfer? You got booted off from your program, but look who stayed.
I don't know. Well, we lost the other screen. So the thing I just want to share with you guys with this stuff is charts are not fortune tellers, okay? They're just indicators. They're kind of roadmaps of telling you where you're going, and they can give you confirmation that something's starting to run. Watch them. They're important to understand and watch, but I would not go bet the farm on it.
Okay? I wouldn't
Okay.
either, but what we can look at and kind of generalize is like a threshold. Once it
Yeah,
hits a
totally.
certain number and doesn't go below in a very long time, that's kind of where I say, okay, well, I don't think it's going to go below this number. And right now, my number's between 32 and 33. If there's a correction, I don't think it'll go below that.
I agree. So for me, if I see gold go below 3,000, I will start to be a little concerned that there's weakness and that it might have a correction that goes further down. I'll have to look at the 200-day moving average. If it goes below the 200-day moving average, we could have more of a correction. 50%, I can't see that. That's like saying a 1-to-1 rate gold to silver ratio with gold and silver. I just don't. That's something I just can't comprehend. Like you, Nick, too, I think going below 32, well, going below 35 on silver would indicate that we're starting to have a little bit of a correction, but I won't really worry until it starts going below 32 and maybe 30. If it goes below 30, then definitely I'd be a little concerned of what's going on.
I would too, but
And so
I personally don't, and I would bet my house on it. I don't think we will see that.
I don't think we will. And so, for what would I do in kind of a scenario like that? I like to try to buy a little bit of silver when I can every
Mhm.
couple of weeks, at least. And I like to hold a little bit of extra cash on the side in case there's a good buying opportunity. Every once in a while, I'll get a text from OC Stacker or someone else, or I'll find a deal local. Um, we had one on Maples, Nick,
Mhm.
about 2 weeks ago, right before silver started jumping, and they were 2013 BU Maple Leaf coins, no milk spotting, for $33 a coin.
Well, my goodness, and I've been meaning to call OC myself because my daughter is seeing, and I've been talking about this and pounding it into her. She's now working. She's in nursing school, so she wants to start investing her money. But of course, her seeing her money go out is very difficult. So she says, "Okay, well, I wanted to start with a little bit of gold." So I said, "Okay, a gram," but then she's like, "No, we'll." Just when she realized what the prices were, she's like, "Okay, let's just start with silver, Mom." And I'm like, "Okay." And then the silver went to 36. So I don't know. I don't
I
know if I
agree.
would.
So, I'm looking at with my kids too, and um, gold is now at a point. I think once gold hit about, in my opinion, about $2,500, it started to become something that is harder for people to afford. Even 2000 was kind of, a number that I looked at and said, "Oh my gosh, do I still buy gold above 2000?"
I did.
Um,
I mean, I was dollar
and I
cost
did.
averaging, and because
I did.
I just don't think it's going to get below 32. So I started buying some at 30. One, because it did go down, and there was a correction a little bit, went down, and then it went right back up again. But I got that window. And so you've got to really watch it every single day. And also with the silver going up, I mean, the ratio has come down a little bit.
It has. And so the last gold I bought was at $2,900.
Yeah.
That's the last time I bought gold. I started to shift a little bit more towards silver, and I was able to get silver below spot when it was sitting at about 30, $33 or so. So I think I got it 50 cents below spot. Right now, I'm kind of reevaluating things, and I also have tuition payments coming in for my
Well,
kids.
yeah, we
So
got
I'm
that
like,
too.
I don't know, maybe
So,
I have to wait a little bit.
so I saw one of Heist videos on how he bought or he got a couple 1/10s with silver, his coins that he found coin hunting. And so did the same play, I think, a couple weeks ago. I took everything that I found coin roll hunting, my 90 Kennedys, and I traded it for 1/10 gold.
So
And I
how did
believe
that work out for you? What did you get? Tell us about the transaction a little
the
bit.
transaction, it was 90. I think the ratio was 93. So it was about 10 ounces of silver for about a 1/10
Okay.
approximately. So, and I had that in Kennedy. So I traded it for 2/1/10, and it was a easy transaction. Went down to my local coin store. They were very willing. And so I walked away with 2/1/10s. Because the ratio
Okay,
had been,
that's awesome.
what's the ratio has been up to what? 90, 98, 97, 98.
Yeah, so I think we got up to, I think the highest it got up to recently was around 106
Right.
Portland.
So I was watching silver and I was watching the gold price, and then I was like, oh my gosh, it's about 93%, 94% right now. So I instantly went downstairs and got everything together quickly and went down to the local coin store and did it. And thank God I did, because the next day the ratio was so off. It was different, It went up probably
Totally.
4 or 5% in one day. So I was like, I couldn't, pass that up.
It's totally true. So I want to bring a comment up here real quick, and then I think we'll go through some
My,
comments too on the chat.
yeah, my eyes
Um,
doing better, Lisa. Thank you.
oh yes, Nick, we'll talk about that maybe
Yes, she
briefly
was
if you want
asking,
to.
so I just wanted to make sure I.
Yeah, we'll come back to that one real quick. So real quick though, when you're buying gold and silver out there, guys, you always have to look at premiums. And what I recommend doing is shopping around and trying to understand what the premium is of what you're looking at. Look at online bullion dealers, look at your local coin stores. Um, you might be able to even find things locally. We can find a lot of stuff looking at Facebook here in Southern California. A lot of people put their
I
silver on.
don't. I've never purchased off Facebook. I'm still very hesitant
Yeah,
about
so
that. I mean, there's just so many scams out there that you have to be careful. And if you don't trust who you're buying from, you don't know what you're going to get.
yeah, so with Facebook, they don't send it to you. You have to meet them somewhere.
Oh,
And
gotcha.
so
Okay.
um, usually what I recommend if you're looking at Facebook, Nick, is you would either take a Sigma Metalytics machine with you
Mhm.
and at least another person with you to go somewhere.
Right. But so
If you're
for
going
how
to
many of us have a
house,
Sigma machine? There's not going to be a lot of us out there that
I,
do.
I know, but if you do that, you can do that.
Mhm.
Okay. Option two is you can get one of the pingers, right? So you can ping it for the sound and you can use the app. Option three is you can always ask them to meet you at a coin shop.
That's an excellent idea right there.
Yep.
But is the coin store going to be look at that favorable?
Most of them are okay with it.
They are. Okay.
If you call and ask them and let them know that you're buying some silver and you'd like to have them, check it to make sure that it's real silver, most of them are pretty cool about doing it. And
Mhm.
the reason why is they want you to come to their store, hopefully buy something else while
Mhm.
you're buying that silver. That person that you're doing the transaction with may buy something else at that store too, and then they're hoping to gain a customer out of it. Now, where they will have a hard time with you is if you're buying something like 1,000 dimes and you're trying to test all 5,000 dimes, right? They may just go over it with one of their X-ray machines real quick for you. But if you have a Sigma machine, you could test every one of those. If you have a pinger, it's not going to work great on a dime. Those work much better on, I'd say, quarters and larger size.
Yeah.
Um, but you could use it for that. But anyway, that is an option that's out
I
there for
guess
you
I could take
guys
my
to look
I
at.
could take my metal detector and have them put it all over the ground and let me see if
That
you
would be
think they
funny.
would like that? I want to
That'd
test
be
it.
funny.
I'm going to test it with my metal detector.
Nick just drops it on the ground and then does a metal
They're
detector.
just like, I'm dropping the mic and I'll be like, we'll test this with my metal detector.
I think that's funny. So you could do that. Now the other thing that Richard brings up here too that I think is cool to look at to you guys is you have a couple options in buying gold and silver. So one is you can buy the physical coins, right? Or bars like this bar, which is really cool. There's a bigger, closer up picture,
That is really
and
neat. I like
it
those.
is really cool. He did a great job on these. So you can buy stuff like that physically. You can buy mining stocks. You can buy ETFs, and you can also buy indexes. Okay, for gold and silver. The other thing you can do is you can also buy fractional ownership into a bar that's in a vault, and that's what happens with Glint and like Kinesis and One Gold.
I don't know if I
Each
would.
function a little differently, but they do allow that. So what Glint does, Nick, is you can say send in $1,000 to Glint,
Mhm,
and you can put it into gold. They
mhm.
hold the gold for you. You get a debit card, and you get to spend the debit card. And as the
So are
price of
you
gold
buying
goes up,
into this one piece yourself, or is this something that you're buying with 5 others?
maybe even 1,000 others, because it's like a kilo bar of gold.
Oh,
And if you
okay.
only put $1,000 in, you're only buying a very small portion of it.
Okay, so I'm selling a portion of my flip coin if anybody's
But
interested. I'm going to
Nick is
sell
going to
pieces of it.
tokenize her flip coin.
There you go. I mean, to me, to be honest with you, that's the same thing almost. It's like an
Yeah.
NFT, and I'm going to sell, a fourth of my for $1,000.
Okay, so we'll come back to that in a second. So just to finish the comment on this, Nick. So Andy Schectman from Miles Franklin has teamed up with Glint. So let's say you put $1,000 onto Glint and you decide that you want $500 in silver. You can redeem $500 from that app, and Miles Franklin will send you the silver. One Gold is a part of AppMex and Sprott. They do it differently. You have a credit card, and as you earn points, you get free gold and silver or platinum. And then you can redeem it through AppMex, or you can sell it. So those are kind of the main ways that people are going to buy gold and silver that are out there. Each one of them have different premiums.
Is there a link that you can post that we can get information on that? Just, I mean, I'm still skeptical because, I'm that person that, I don't own it unless I have it here in my house in the safe.
So it's all going to depend on your strategy. I'll pull both of those up so we can put the links in there for you guys.
No.
I don't know Kinesis very well, but it's similar. But these are like really long. Let me shorten this down.
Jacobs, negative. No.
So here's One Golds, and then I'll put in Glints too.
Okay,
and they're not paying us for
I'll
this,
go
guys.
read
We're
about
just
it.
sharing the information.
Let me see. I'm gonna send that to my.
So Nick, here's the deal. I agree. I believe the best place for your gold and silver is as close to you as possible, as you can make it safe. But if you live in an apartment in Los Angeles, where there's a bunch of chaos going on, you may not feel very safe, and you might not be able to get a very secure safe into an apartment building. So for someone like that, you might want to use a vaulting facility that's close to you that you can get to, or a friend or family's home you trust, and put a safe there. If you have a lot of money, let's say you have $1 million of gold, you might want to spread that across a few different places, with some of it at your house and some in other places.
Like on the fees and everything else, because that goes into
you're going to have to pay money for all that stuff, right? So you have to look at it, and the reality is if you live in a very safe and secure place, you probably are fine having it at your house.
Yeah. I mean, my next door neighbor is a bear den. So, I mean,
Bigfoot's your biggest
Bigfoot.
threat.
It's so I don't think he's going to come steal my gold just yet, or my silver.
Exactly.
I don't really have much gold.
So, to your point though, Nick, these other services that are out there, they have lower premiums, but you don't hold the gold. Mm-hmm. And so I wouldn't put all of my eggs in that basket. That might be something that's kind of like a fun thing to try, and then over time you might do more of it. So, let's say you got a paycheck of $1,000 every month. You might want to put it into one of these, and you use the debit card. If you believe gold's going to keep going up, you make a little bit of extra money from it. It just depends on what you're trying to go after. Right. But I would first get your stash at home.
Yeah, I would.
So it's more of an extra thing. It's something you guys can try. Now, if you don't have a good safe at home, I think that is something to invest in. And the heavier the safe, the ability to bolt it down, and fire rating, as well as a safety rating, all those things add up to make it better and more secure. Mm-hmm. Where you're at, Nick, it might be something you're more concerned about from a fire perspective. Lots of trees, maybe there's a fire, but burglary is really low. Where I live, if I drive about 30 seconds away, we had half a $500,000 stolen from about 7 homes 2 years ago from a Chilean cartel. They broke into safes. They took out watches, they took purses, and they took a lot of gold and silver and cash. And they left all the electronics. They didn't touch any of that. And they did it 15 minutes in the house and out. So the only safes they got into were ones that probably weren't safety rated. So go by your area. Okay. So you don't need to freak out if you live more rural. I can throw a ping pong ball and hit my neighbor's house. Nick would have to probably get a potato gun to hit the next neighbor's house.
Well, we'd probably have to get a drone.
A drone to find him.
Because so I mean, but My state is very rural everywhere anyways. Even our largest cities are rural. I mean, and I was in Boston the other day, and there's only one way into the state of Maine, and that is a bridge. You have to cross the river, and there's only 2 lanes. So I actually recorded that so people could see this. We only border one state, and then there's only one way in. So it kind of keeps everything, still rural. I mean, because it's not easy to get into the state, and not many different unless you're coming from Canada. But of course, we have ice in the border up there, so. Yeah, we don't have too many people coming from the north either.
That's true. Well, let's say hi to the chat here. We've got Amy is in the house. Welcome. She says hi, Nick's
Hi,
Coins.
Amy.
I think
Hey,
Amy's been
everybody.
asking for months to have you back on, Nick.
I
So,
love. Oh my gosh, she's awesome.
and we've got Craig. So Craig
Craig,
is
long
awesome.
time.
He's out in Hawaii, and I might be able to swing by and say hi to him soon here. I don't know. We'll have to see if I can work it out.
I
But
would love to make my way out to Hawaii one
wouldn't that
day.
be fun?
But right now, it's New England in the summer. There's no other. But I mean, this is the best place to be.
We got farm dog. I mean, is there a better dog than a farm dog?
He's the best.
I don't think so. I think he's the best. We got Michael stacking.
Michael,
So
and congratulations.
congratulations,
He
Michael.
hit 500 subs. Is that in? I think over 500. So congratulations.
He did.
That's hard to get to the first 500. People don't realize it's very hard.
Oh, it's you guys have no idea how hard this is to get subscribers. I mean, maybe some people buy them, which you're not supposed
I
to
don't
do,
even
and
know
it can destroy your channel.
how you would go about that. I mean, I'm so low tech. I
Yeah,
wouldn't even know what to do.
there's ways to do it, but it doesn't help your channel long term. It just masks it and makes it look good short term.
Oh,
They don't keep coming back, right? It's some people in other countries most of the time and junk like
that's
that.
So then you
You
really
don't
could
want to touch
possibly
that.
tell if that. But I'd rather have my loyal subs because they're it's almost like they're family now.
You do, but it's really hard getting to 500.
It is.
It feels almost impossible to get to 1,000.
Yeah.
And then after that, it's each 1,000 is kind of a grind to keep going until you're getting to probably, I don't know, I'm almost at 12,000, but each 1,000 for me is hard to hit. Every once in a while, I have a guest on that kind of brings a lot of people with them.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get an influx up, but then I'll lose subs every day because it's not all about that other person that did the interview.
And it really is about putting out content constantly, almost like every day. And that's what it takes. And life. So I wasn't able to do that, but I've been putting out some shorts lately. Who knew that they were going to do so well?
It's so true.
It's
so guys,
breaking stuff.
Mods, put Nick's channel in here. If you guys haven't subscribed to Nick's yet, please do. She's got a great channel. She has some fun stuff. OC Stacker is a house favorite around here, so he says hello.
I mean, speak for yourself.
Well, he almost broke up this chat yesterday, just egging on Nick.
I knew what he was doing. That's why I was teasing to see what he would say.
I messaged him back and I said, "You've got to make sure Nick shows up, or you're going to be doing a face reveal tonight."
And I was just teasing him.
It was fun.
Yeah.
All right, we've got bike contests. So I don't know bike contests personally, but bike contest won the epic Drew Trophy silver surfboard signed. Okay, there's only I think 12 of those out there.
Because I remember that because I entered the contest because I didn't have one at the time. I still don't have one signed, but I am blessed to have a surfboard from Surfer. So that was awesome.
It's awesome. You're welcome, Nick. And what I would say to any of you guys that buy one of those surfboard coins, if you come to San Clemente, California, look up Drew Brophy Galleries. I would take it in there. You might get lucky, and maybe he'll sign it for you.
I mean, I would have come out to California if I was not afraid of being, burnt.
Coming back these days. One of these days we'll get you out here. We'll get Tim and Yankee out here. But Drew Brophy, they had the designs ready, and they had everything ready to go for the second coin, and then they had the third one ready to go, and Pant pulled it.
Why did they do that? Do you have any idea why they pulled it? Because wasn't it the first one?
It looked like it was doing really well, but it turned out what happened is a lot of the wholesalers bought probably 80% of the
Mm,
supply. And there, when you have a colorized coin, it appeals to a certain group, and then it's in the shape of a surfboard, so that's something a little bit different. And it has, a premium on it. So, I think it was retailing for around 110,
mhm.
115 bucks or so. So most of them, though, you can still find them a lot of times for less than that.
I've seen them like for 75.
You might be able to find them for
Mhm,
75. So that can be a cool coin. It's only the second surfboard coin I'm aware of that's been created. There was a longboard coin created
mhm.
a few years back, but it's the only one from Drew. They only made 3,000 of it, and I don't know if they'll make more. So that's kind of cool. But
Yeah, I was, and the
um,
reason why I checked is because I was interested to see if they had the second one come out. So, and that's when I realized they did not, and then saw the price on the surfboards. Because I mean, I wanted,
so
since I had one,
yeah,
I wanted
well,
to,
that's why I sent one your way, Nick. I had some extras.
yeah,
22 wrecked
I ran
or
Ladina.
rekid.
I
How do you say the name, Nick?
would say 22 Rekid.
22 rekid. I don't know. So you'll have to correct us in there. But Iran will do nothing. I
They're
think
bombing
Iran's
Israel right now.
Yeah, I think Israel's probably gonna take the upper hand on that one. We called out Richard earlier, but here's Richard giving us a little bit of information from that. The Strait of Hormuz cannot be closed down. That'll affect oil markets massively, and it's also a security risk.
I don't know. I
Echo
don't think that.
Leaf,
Yeah.
welcome.
Hi.
All right, we've got the Silver Desert. So I don't know where you're coming from, but let us know.
I
It's
would
pretty
guess
cool.
Arizona, but that's just a guess.
That'd be my
I
guess too.
do.
Flag City parts as well. Nick hates things in capsules and plastic.
In plastic and
Well,
those mint
unless
sets.
they're like this, I
Unless,
guarantee
yeah,
you hers is still in the plastic.
yes, it is. Let me see if I can get mine.
I think your flip coin's still in the plastic.
Of course it is. I mean, that's just, I mean, you kidding? That's like hugely special.
Definitely. And hey, by the way, if you guys haven't done so yet, please hit the subscribe, the bell icon, and the thumbs up. So there you go. There's Maine Patriots. That's cool.
So, yeah, so it's the same thing, but yes, I like mine in the capsule.
So I think that's pretty cool. All right, we've got time lapse in here too. California equals earthquake picture. So maybe we have like a big earthquake crack going across the uh the license plate.
Maybe we'll get
Echo
lucky in
Leaf said
California.
Newsom. We're not putting Newsom on that thing.
Maybe we'll get lucky
You
in
might
California. Will actually fall into the sea. It might need to
ugh,
stop
not
all the
while I'm
burn.
still here.
No, I'm just teasing. I just said that because back in the 80s, I mean, that was really, I remember, I think maybe 87, they really thought California would be under the sea by 87. I mean, that was the
Well,
fear back
here's yeah, here's the truth. If you go up Baja California where the split is,
then.
up through Palm Springs, all the way to the Bay Area, that little bit of California, which is where I live too, is on the Pacific plate, which is where the whole Pacific Ocean
Yeah.
is. Everything else is on the North America plate.
Mhm.
So technically, if there was a large enough earthquake and a move, that whole area could basically move out into the ocean further,
Mhm.
and maybe it would sink a little bit. So it's not 100% fiction, but in order for that to happen, that would be some massive kind of earthquake like we've never seen before.
Thank you,
Um,
JJ.
we've we've got Kevin Hawthorne in the house as
Hi,
well from
Kevin.
Lakeland, Florida. Welcome.
Hi.
We've got Joseph
Hi, Joseph.
Lopez,
I've been to Lakeland, Florida several times. Passed through there.
and we've got Edo D exclamation 222. I know he's been changing his name a little bit now. Welcome.
I like the picture.
The picture's cool. And then we've got John Jacobs.
John
Nick
Jacob.
High. Papa's spare
Hi.
time hit 100K.
Wow. Holy smoke.
Wow.
Congratulations,
And
Pop.
to
And
to
that's
hit 100K,
amazing. That
um,
is amazing.
it's a very hard thing to do. It means that you've been at it for a very long time. You've been putting a lot of content out. And it probably also means that you've put together a pretty good following of people. It's not easy to do, that's for sure.
Oh my gosh, OC's dagger.
Oh, what did he put in there? We'll get to him in a second. We've got Lisa Anderson.
Hi, Lisa.
Good to see you as well. All right, who else we got in here? We got a few more people. So let's see. And I know some of you are watching this on TV and you might not be able to, you might not feel like you can text in here, but just a trick. If you're on the TV watching this, you can always pull up a computer or your phone, right? You can pull up the phone and you can do a little thing. And all of a sudden, there you go. So you can do stuff like that. You can put comments in there. You can hit the thumbs up, the like, all that kind of stuff from your phone easier. All right, who else we got in here? We've got Frank Mons is in here.
Frank
What's up?
Mons. He's in California. And
Um,
he metal detects and he finds a lot of gold on the beach. I mean,
well, Frank, send me an email. We'll come film you if we're not too far apart from each other.
that's a great, hey, he's my friend. So no, I'm just teasing. Freaking awesome. Shotgun.
Maybe you can get Nick to come out. I don't know.
No, I'm just teasing.
I've been trying.
No, Frank Mons is amazing. Hi,
We've got Wilson. Load up if it goes to 32. I completely agree. If I see gold go back down below 3,000,
I mean, seriously,
that's a buy indicator to me, big time. If I see silver go below 32, it's a buy, big time.
It's game on if it goes below 32.
Yeah, I
game on.
personally, we can't give you guys financial advice. We can't tell you when to buy, sell, or what to do with any of this stuff.
That's a personal decision, but for me,
it is. But it's
yeah.
Like I'm already at a day, Nick, and I've been doing this 5 years now, stacking, and I'm at a day already where I'm now looking at it, and in 2021 in the summers when I started stacking heavier, and I wish I just went all in at that point, right? And hindsight's always 2020, as OC Stacker likes to say. But honestly, it's been a great decision that I've made. I wish I was buying back in 2000 and in 2002, right? You could pick it up for under $500. You could pick it up for around $350.
I mean, a lot of us
and it's great. But here's the thing. The dollar, we can't pay off $36 trillion in debt. We cannot pay off $200 trillion in IOUs. We're not going back to $300 gold and silver with our current currency system. It's just not going to happen. No. I mean, there's maybe some crazy way it could happen, but no one has a comprehension for that. So I look at that, and it's not about going back to those times, Nick, and just saying, I just wish I could. I wish I could. We're also in that time right now, I believe. I believe we're at a time where we're going to look back and we're going to say, do you remember when gold was at $3,500?
I remember.
And do you remember when silver was at 36?
So I started around 2020. So I didn't start buying gold then, but maybe a year or two later. So I was buying when it was 1,600. And that was 1/10 back then. And everybody kept telling me, oh, well, the premiums are going to be, no, even with the premiums at what gold is right now, I did very well. And I knew that was a possibility because gold was going up so much. And then I remember when it hit 18 and, so we can start seeing that now. So, people, I think that they should slow and steady if you're consistent and just, when you can find ways to save money and put it in there. I always find ways to save money. And
what are some ways, Nick? So if you look at your daily life, and maybe you've already changed this, so you might have to add some things that you would maybe hypothetically do. But are there things throughout the day that you might be able to forego that would allow you to either in one day or over a week or even a month accumulate enough money to buy an ounce of silver?
Yeah. I stopped going to Starbucks. I love Starbucks, and I could go by there and have a coffee daily, but I'm not going to spend $6, $7 on a coffee anymore. I can my coffee's good at home, and it tastes so much better when I and paying, cents for it. Convenience stores, it's like when you go get gas, don't go inside, because I'm always going to find gum or a little snack that I want, because I'm always hungry and I'm always snacking. So I
That's
bring my
funny.
protein bars with me and stuff, especially like when I was working, because eating out, I brought my lunches. That is a big deal. I mean, because and I cook at home, so I always have leftovers. um I go grocery shopping and when I go grocery shopping, if there's no food in the house, then, too bad, until it's time to grocery shop again, because it's budgeted. Um, simple things like that. Turn your lights off. Oh,
Totally.
turn your
Totally
light.
turning your lights off. Fixing leaky pipes, that can be one too.
Insulation around your doors, especially when we have heating costs. Make sure,
Yep.
the windows are sealed well. I mean, there's just a lot of things that you can do to help yourself save money. I was hesitant on not getting the paper statements from my bank, so I've started printing them off monthly instead of paying the monthly fee. I go and look what we have for subscriptions and make sure that, they're not stuff that we're paying for that we don't even know we have. Make sure I check my account constantly to see if there's anything taken out that shouldn't be taken out. I mean, I'm always thinking of ways where I can be frugal. I'm not cheap, I'm frugal.
There's a difference.
There's a difference, because I have a champagne taste on on a beer budget, but I'm just frugal.
There you go. But I think it's important to do, guys, is to keep dollar cost averaging. Okay, so we've
Oh,
got Guitar Gardens.
hi there.
Bought. Look at that. That is a pretty sweet AI picture there. I bought more Silver Eagles last week at a 95-1 ratio. It doesn't get much better. I'll hold
See,
until 50-1 or
I made a
40-1.
trade when it was 94-1.
Yeah.
So I mean,
So kind of my rule of thumb is, if it's over 80, I'm gonna I'm gonna buy more silver than gold when I'm dollar cost averaging. And if it's at 90, I'm going to start to buy even more silver. And when it's at 95, 100, I'm going to start buying more percentage of silver than just gold. That's once you have your strategy in place and you have the gold that you need from a basic standpoint and silver from a basic standpoint. And it's just, you're adding to your stack over time. If you don't have any gold and the ratio's at 110 or 120 or some crazy number, if it ever got up to there, um, and you don't have gold and you have the money for it, I'd still be buying gold, even though the ratio is off a little bit. But to the point here, 50 and 40, 50 is kind of the mean. 40 gold is very possible for gold too. I hear people talking about a number of 10. 10's hard for me to understand. But would that not be crazy, Nick? If it got down to 10 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold, what would you do?
I'd be trading in some silver, some gold.
I would be too.
I mean,
I'd probably trade
that's
quite
a
a bit of
given.
it. We've got F37 metal. Hey,
Hi
there's Nick's
there.
coins and all. Welcome. All right, let's see who else we got. We're going to try to get caught up with you guys too here. Um, let's see. We've got the broke stacker in the house too. So I was just looking at his sticker the other day. Saw it in one of my drawers. And let's see who else we got in here. What else you guys got? We're just gonna get caught up real quick. We've got Craig Johnson. Uh-oh. Nick is a little cutie.
Oh, thank you.
Um, uh-oh, you're gonna have to have a chat with Michael. I think he's getting a little ahead of himself there.
Yeah, OC is not a good leader. I wouldn't follow him, Michael. It's not. Wouldn't
All
follow
right, let's
his
see.
lead.
Okay, here's another question for you, Nick. What happens if gold goes to 20,000 an ounce?
Then we'll be sitting really pretty, won't we? If
So
you
would
have
you
some
sell
gold.
it? Would you sell any, or would you hold it,
Yeah, I'd sell it.
or does it depend on what's going on?
It really depends on what's going on at the time, but I mean, right now, I would sell it if it was up to 20,000. But I'm not one to what if. I don't care what if, to be honest with you. My mind goes with facts and what we're dealing with right now, because there's so many other scenarios that we can look at and try to better ourselves. How I could save money to buy gold and silver. My mind just doesn't go to the what if.
I agree. And so um, what I'll tell you guys is when you look at these big numbers, 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, 50,000, whatever gold goes to, um, you really don't know what you're going to do yet because it depends on what's going on. Has there been a ton of inflation? Is there a massive war? What's really happening to kind of drive it to that point?
And
I
right now,
bet
we
you
saw the numbers for inflation went down this month.
they did. And so, you know, you have the crypto people that are praying every night for the Fed to put the money printer back on because that's how crypto goes up. It goes up when they have a bunch of extra money coming into the system, and they have to have people buying into in higher prices and leaving it there in order for the price to go up. Now, frankly, that happens with gold and silver as well, but there's other uses for it, and there's more people than just speculators going into
Mhm.
it. But when you look at it, I don't think the Fed's going to start to print more money and really announce it and go heavy into it until they have to. I don't think they're going to just do it, no matter how many crypto people shout at the top of the lungs to do it. But um, that's what it's going to take to do that. But anyway, if gold is at 20,000, what could silver be at, Nick?
See, and that's just it. I don't know because we're not there. And if we got close to there, then maybe I'd start thinking of numbers. What say you? What do you think?
It can be anything. So always remember with ratios, it it's not always a good time to be flipping ratios depending on what's going on out there in the market, right?
Mhm.
Um, so when you have a lot of instability in the market, I would still be holding on to gold. I still have $2 in gold for every $1 in silver. I hear of some people going out there and selling 90% of their gold and going all in silver. Silver is just all over the place for
And,
me,
and, and that's
and
going to be a personal preference,
it's
whatever.
going to be a totally
That's gonna be,
personal thing.
yeah.
But I'm not going to take the risk, and I'm okay with not getting as much upside if silver really did take off, and I'm still with gold, and it's okay. They have different purposes. So know why you're buying each metal. Um, when you're playing the ratios, the idea there is to grow your stack each time you play it. And so you need to play it on those higher ends, right? Like 90 plus if you're moving from gold into silver. And if you're moving from silver into gold, you got to be kind of below 50. You kind of need to be in a little bit below 50 to 40 range to start getting that advantage. So just, be aware of that. All right. I don't know how to say this name, Nick. I'm going to let you do that one.
Latero. You get the
Latero,
Latero. I don't know.
Guinea wheel. I don't know. I'm not going to say that right. I'm horrible with it.
I know.
But
I'm
and I
messed.
apologize. People blow up my last name all the time too. Um, and they never say it or spell it right. So Nick, it's not Bigfoot, it's aliens.
Oh, well, in my area, I'm concerned about Bigfoot. Yeah.
All right, let's see what
I
else we
think
got
he,
in
I
here
think
that's
he
good. All
stalks us sometimes.
right, let's see what else we got here.
I mean,
All
I
right.
do. I think about it every day though, because I mean, you don't really have to, but I'm looking at the numbers because I want to know when is it going, because it is so high right now and it's higher than we've seen it. Um, I'm strategizing when I'm going to buy, and whether it be silver or gold. And I always make sure I have the money to do so. That's set aside for that purpose, not for something else, but set aside for that purpose. And then I go with my plan and I stick to it. I strategize. I look at everything, and my plan is constantly changing due to the, like you said, what's going on at the moment, what's going on in the world, what's going on in my own world. Things change, our circumstances change. And I think everybody should be looking at
Totally.
that, assessing.
Um, I have crazy medical expenses that come up for my
Mhm.
family, and I don't always know when to expect them. and they're usually not a little bit of money. It's like I need $3,000 this
Mhm.
week or $5,000. It's usually quite a bit of stuff. Um, if I don't have the right cash position that I'm holding on the side, there are times where I may have to sell some gold and silver,
Yeah.
and it doesn't mean I can't rebuy it back down the road. But if all I had was silver, the premiums are quite a bit higher when you go to sell that.
Mhm.
And you can get yourself into a situation where if you sell your silver too soon,
Yeah.
you're
Mhm.
going to lose money. Gold's a little bit easier to move out of if you need to, but I like to say 3 like that to 5 years of a hold for gold and silver
Yeah.
purchases. If you can go 10 years, it's even better. Usually you'll get through a cycle of
Yeah,
it
but I
kind
can
of
tell you right
going
now,
up and
I
down.
mean, and I think a lot of the viewers too, I mean, some of them I think have been in it for a very long time, but some I'm 2020 is really when I started having a lot of interest in numismatic coins. I mean, I've always been interested in them and history and just reading about it, but that's when I really started getting into it and collecting coins myself, was 2020. And then, of course, the metal and the stacking came later.
Yes. I think a lot of people start off that way too. So, Nick, I am going to put your, uh, I'm going to go ahead and put your channel in here
But
so
I said,
people
but
have it.
don't you find comfort in knowing though that if you did need to, you needed the money, like you had something that you could sell, that you have that protection. Um, and sometimes you may lose money, but at least you have that little bit, I call it savings, that you can sell and pay that bill. I know, gosh, medical expenses is I think is an issue for us all. Insurance is not paying and covering a lot that it used to. And with my eye, believe it or not, the expenses with that with cross my insurance does not allow us to cross state lines unless we have to. Um, and so I had to that evening. So I'm calling the insurance company to see if they'll pay more of it because they're not paying nearly as much as I would hope. But that evening that I had to go
They're
down to
not
no. And so
like
when I went to Massachusetts, there was only 2 people in the state of Maine that actually could do the surgery that I needed. And it was New Year's Eve. They were not available. So when I don't have doctors available, I want them to cover more of it. But in reality, they're saying there's 2 other doctors here that do it. So, so medical expenses is no joke. And especially when you have to keep going down and then to
no,
travel.
it's
I mean, it's just one issue. And so I understand what you're saying about medical. I mean, thank God I can see and we got down there in time, but it's been a time. So inexpensive. So
even basic stuff. Like I don't have the best teeth, unfortunately, so I floss like crazy, and I still end up with cavities in between my teeth. I don't,
really,
whatever I do, and
I've only had one cavity my whole entire life.
I have them like all the time, and I brush my teeth like crazy, and I don't eat a ton of sugar stuff. But anyway, the new dental plan for my company this year doesn't cover everything with my current dentist, and so I go in there for a filling, and it's like $600 after
Wow.
insurance. So there's just little things that come up that you have to deal with. But to me, Nick, gold I like to look at as kind of wealth insurance.
Mhm.
It's a way to hedge any money in the stock market you might have, or in real estate, or businesses you might have for those rainy days. And the hope is you don't have to use it, but it's
Right.
insurance. If I have to, I do use it. But if I don't have to, I can pass it to my kids.
Mhm.
And gold's
That's the
something that's
hope.
pretty easy to pass to people.
Mhm. Yep. And that's the hope that we
Um,
can pass it down to our children. But sometimes, life throws you a curveball, and at least you have that
it
protection.
does. And so you're happy when you have it. Okay,
Mhm.
so real quick too, we've got
Did I win yet?
Yoska Nav. Did I win yet? I don't know. We'll have to see if there's anything we're giving away. We've also got Shotgun Susie.
Hi.
So welcome. And then this is a yes, I'm going to be checking it out. I got to see what the surf report is for tomorrow. Um, and I have next Thursday off too. So we'll be looking at that. The city is pretty busy here, Nick. So if you try to get dinner in San Clemente, it can take upwards of 30 minutes to find parking.
Holy
Kind of
smoke.
crazy.
Yeah. Wow.
And we're just a little town, and it's kind of a little strip of shops
Yeah,
that go
I'd eat at
from
home and
the
save
top of the
money.
hill.
Save money and eat at home. And then you save time.
Yes. But if you're coming here, it's a tourist area, right? So it
Mhm.
starts at the top of the hill, goes down to the bottom where the pier is that you guys see
Yeah.
me walking on. And there's just no parking, and it's hard to find stuff. But yeah, Trestles is an awesome place to surf, guys. All right. Oh, and we had another comment up here. I think I passed it though from um, the desert, uh, the Silver Desert right here. It's Southern Utah and formerly Southern California. So we were
Okay.
wrong. Kind of close though.
Huh?
Western states.
It's still over there in the West.
Yes.
See, I
All
know,
right.
right?
So let's see if we've got
No,
anybody else
it's
in
not in
here.
New England. It's not on the East Coast
Yeah, there you go.
because everything happens on the East Coast except
Everything does,
except
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 for
forest fires and
peaceful rallies. We only have peaceful rallies in California.
yeah, we're not burning our cities.
Oh my gosh, I know it's kind of crazy. Okay, let's see.
Well, it is
I think
crazy
we're
because
almost caught up.
I'm watching where some people are still talking about that they can't get insurance or they didn't have insurance on their homes that were affected by the fire. And then down in LA, people want to start fires. I mean, it's just a contradiction, and it just doesn't. I'm like, these people here are still trying to rebuild, and then yet
It's
this
true.
all this chaos, and it's just crazy to me. But
And we've got Eli in the house as well. Welcome.
hi,
And I think that's everybody right now. I think we're almost caught up here. We've
and
got one more
we got
war.
Jake, and we got freaking awesome, and I
Low
saw
maintenance.
low maintenance. Who's low maintenance?
I didn't see freaking awesome in here. I might have missed it. Frostbite
Yeah.
Coins is in here.
Hi
Welcome,
there.
Frostbite.
He
Freaking
has a
awesome.
great program
I'll have to put
also,
another.
and he has a really good
Yes, he has a
program.
great channel.
He's got a
Here we go.
great
There's freaking
show
awesome too.
with Paula. I love her. She's so knowledgeable, and so is Frostbite. But um, I learn a lot from Paula. Love freaking awesome.
So we'll try to get. Let's see.
Yes, Richard. I have been meaning to go down there. It's just that after I have an eye appointment, I'm kind of it's hard for me to see for the next day or so because they have to really get in there. Sometimes they put needles in my eye. It's just yeah. So I was going down there weekly, and then I went to 2 weeks. Then I went to monthly. I was back down to because I had to have some more work done. They found 3 more holes. So then I was back down to again 2 weeks. I graduated this last appointment to another month. 2 months. No, I'm gone up 2 months. So
And
that
I'll
was
tell you the thing that's going to freak me out more than my ears or my eyes having problems.
well, I mean, if you have a good doctor and you get there in time, and that's why I'm so glad I'm so close to Boston. So if I do need something really extensive, Boston is the place to be. It's really got a lot of great
Yeah,
hospitals and um, yeah,
big
research going
cities
on
are
there.
always good. So we've
I
got
wasn't
Jake's
know
Custom Parts.
Boston's not a big
Welcome.
city. Boston is a very small city.
Okay, Boston itself is a small city. If you look at the whole Boston area, it's got quite a few people in there. But I think
No,
a lot of
yeah,
people lump in
it's
Cambridge
mhm,
into Boston, and
yeah,
they're not the same.
because we could put the whole of Massachusetts probably in the city of New York.
Yeah,
We could probably, pick it up, and because Massachusetts is quite small, but it packs a big punch when it comes to great doctors and specialists and
for
the whole
sure.
nine yards. Yeah, especially.
When you get to places like Dallas or Houston or
Mhm.
Los Angeles, they're just like these big sprawling metropolitan areas that start to encompass everything.
Yeah,
And they just get massive and massive. But Boston being on the sea and then having the rivers and everything, it's a pretty cool place to visit. Um, we've
it's
got
beautiful.
buy ye stocks. Stopped at 850 ounces of silver, was getting too heavy.
Wow. No kidding. Yeah. That's not going to
Yeah.
be something to pick up and go.
So here's the other thing too. If you ever have to run and leave, you'll hope you have some gold to make it a little easier, or you got to find your favorite silver to run with. If you
Right.
end
I
up
mean,
in with a lot of silver, you may have to leave some of it behind. So
with the
that's where a
ratio,
fire safe can be good.
the ratio when I so a couple days ago, or maybe like last week or so, when the ratio was like at 94:1, if I had that much silver, I probably would have traded a lot more in traded for gold. But yeah, this is personal preference, because I do, of course, you want weight, but I don't want too much weight, because I'm always thinking, well, if I want to get up and go and I want to keep it, am I going to be really able to pick this up fast?
Totally. Yoxnav. Is that? I think that's how I say the name. Who would trade their gold for 10 ounces? They'd be crazy. I think it was a 10th ounce, right? For 10 ounces, Nick?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who would
But
trade
yeah,
their
no one, I don't think anybody would trade an ounce of gold for 10 ounces of silver.
Oh no, I wouldn't, but I traded
Yeah,
10 ounces of silver. It was like 9.5 ounces of silver for 1/10 gold. And it was stuff that I found coin roll hunting. It wasn't anything that I purchased either. So, and I got that idea from Silver Heist. And when the ratio went down, not much, but I mean, when's the last time we seen it at like, 94%, or I'm sorry, 94.1? Um,
yep.
I did it. And it
And
was just,
then welcome, Patrick. Um, I don't know what you mean by this. You'll have to, I'd have to define that better. Nick, do you know what that means?
mm-mm. Before they smash it again as COTs.
So he's probably talking about them smashing silver, but I'm not sure what CFTC is. I probably know what it is. I maybe don't know that acronym. Let's see. We've got Will is in the house as well. They'll revisit those numbers guaranteed. So I think he's thinking we'll probably touch the 3,030.
Oh my God. Oh,
Nick
see,
says no.
where?
Now
Oh,
here's an interesting thing too, Nick. So the broke stacker approaching retirement has really focused my attention to my monthly expenses.
mhm.
Get it to a bare minimum. You work too hard to just give your money away. I'd agree with that.
I agree with that. And I heard I don't go looking for things to buy either. I mean, how many times do we just go out there and we just want to buy something? I'm very frugal. If you look around, there's, my gosh, I've been going through our basement and get rid of stuff that I've had for years, and I've been putting it in an auction. I mean, there's just so many things that you can do to save money, and that's what I put into buying, a little bit of gold and some silver.
All right, we're going to ask Nick this question. When buying gold at an affordable fractional price, what's your thoughts on buying the pre-33 at a lower premium at the near weight of a quarter ounce maple being more expensive? So I think if I read this right, let's say you could buy a $5 pre-33 coin,
Mhm.
or you could buy a quarter ounce bullion gold maple. If they're at the same price, which one do you go with?
The maple.
Why?
I mean, I do have pre-33. I'm not one that thinks it's my gold's going to be confiscated. I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. And sometimes, when a lot of people newly into stacking, they're going to want the newest and prettiest thing. They don't want the pre-33. And there's a lot of fakes out there too. So it depends on really who I'm buying from as well. I'm going to put a lot of thought into who I'm buying from, the prices. Am I going to be able to sell it as quickly as the other? And that's regional as well. 1/10 in my area are going to sell a lot faster for me versus a 1 ounce. So there's a lot of things I think about before I.
What if you can buy the pre-33 coin for, let's say, $30 less than the
Yeah,
maple?
then yeah, I'm going to do that.
Or what if it's graded at an MS61 or a 62?
If it's
Common
graded,
rare.
I would be more out to buy it if it's graded and it's in a slab.
So there's considerations to look at
There's a lot of
when you're doing
considerations.
that.
Yep, I would much rather have the pre-33 slabbed versus raw,
But
especially
if
if
it's
I'm buying.
raw and raw and it's the same price, you're actually getting more gold. with the maple leaf than you are
Right.
with the pre-33 coin.
Right.
So I want to say it's like it's either 0.23 and change or 0.24, but
Yeah.
it's not a full quarter ounce. So that's something to kind of be aware of as well there. All right, let's see if we had any other questions to hit real quick, Nick. Let's see.
Okay, so I have not come
So
across or heard anybody. Frostbite said that he's seen a lot of, but lots of counterfeit slab 33, pre-33. So you have to be careful what you buy, of course. But I haven't come across any, or thank
I
God I
haven't
haven't.
either. You're less likely to have a counterfeit slabbed one than a raw one, just because it takes more effort to get a slab and find one and be able to try to match it. When you get slabs, you can always check on PCGS, NGC, or CAC and look at the coin that the picture that's supposed of the coin that's supposed to be in the slab. Is it the same coin or
And a
not?
lot of times, sometimes it doesn't have pictures, but it will list what it should be.
It
And
will.
so I prefer PCGS or NGC slabs, or even CAC. They don't have anything that you can scan, but I do like the CAC slabs.
Yeah.
But I do like to be
So
able to scan. I have that app on my phone. I'm able to scan. I can scan. So if somebody's at auction and they're showing a coin, I will scan it right then and there, right on the screen too, as well.
I think that's good to do too. And then, a lot of people are looking at constitutional, not constructional, but constitutional silver.
Oh yeah, guys.
And um, it's sitting around everywhere. People are melting it like crazy because, like, bullion dealers and melters, because they need to sell it. And if they can't sell it to the open market, a lot of times they just put it in these big cases and they send them off,
Well,
to the melters.
they've been melting a lot of pre-33 as well.
They have. So I've heard people say, I'm not buying pre 33 gold coins, or I'm not going to buy constitutional silver because I want to leave it for other people. What I'm going to tell you is every pre
Why?
33 coin that you don't buy and every bit of constitutional silver you don't buy is potentially going to be melted. Okay. If you really care about it, grab as much of it as you can afford and that you want. But yes, they're not going to make it again. At least I don't think we'll be making dimes, quarters, and half dollars out of silver again. I don't think we don't have any of that kind of silver as reserves as a country, so that would make the price go way up. But grab that stuff when you can. Right now, I think you can get some really good prices on constitutional silver, and just remember it's 90% silver as well, and it's about $1.40 face to get 1 ounce of silver. So you got to do a different calculation when you're looking at the price to figure
Yeah,
out how
and
much is
I
a
have
good
an app
price.
on that as well. I mean,
Okay.
let me see what I use. So you can determine, I like to see what melt value is on stuff too, especially if I'm at an auction,
Yes.
I'll start with at melt value. Let me see what I use.
And it's
Coinapps.com is
and
what I
that's a good
use.
point though too, Nick, is if you're able to buy pre-33 gold at melt,
Yeah, I'm
um,
gonna do it.
it's a good deal. If you're buying it at spot, you're overpaying compared to buying regular bullion at spot. So it's all relative. But if the bullion is 5% above spot, okay, well then, or 14% if it's a smaller coin. So Nick,
Michael
this is something
Porter.
else I wanted to bring up too. OC Stacker talked about this. So I did grab two of these today. I
I saw
grabbed
there
one
on
for myself, and I grabbed one for my wife, and I sent it to OC Stacker's house because I needed a second address.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so here we go. So on some people that weren't able to pick these up, we have these people that use multiple addresses. And do you think that that's fair? Especially when they had such a
Well,
limited
I don't
amount.
know. You tell me,
Well,
if I give it out as a GAW, is that fair?
no. No.
I don't know.
Well, okay, so it's against the rules. We'll just put it that way. We broke the rules.
Well, we bent the rules to see if it would work. So I was on a
Well,
live stream with
obviously, it's going to work because.
we'll see. It's the same
So,
credit card,
okay. So,
same name.
then that will be interesting to see.
So we're testing it. Yep. So
OC
it's one per
Stacker,
household.
OC Stacker is such a heathen to allow
I know.
this.
So, well, he didn't allow it. I just did it for him. So
Oh,
here's the deal. I'm curious to see
it's
if
not
it
illegal.
will. So I got one for him basically, right? So here's the deal. And if he doesn't want it, maybe I'll gaw it off. I'm going to take him in to get him graded
Mhm.
at Tangible Investments. So I'll do that, and we'll do a video on doing that whole thing. This morning we were on Son of a Silver Stacker. I was on there for a little bit, and he does this every time there's a launch. And a lot of people in the chat had 3, 4, or 5 coins that they picked up, and half of the chat couldn't even get in.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. What about the waiting room? I
And
love the waiting room. I think it's great.
the waiting room broke big time today.
Oh,
Like,
really?
I went from being on deck to having a day wait
Mhm.
to 3 hours wait to 4 minutes. Like, it was all over the place. Um, so I wanted to kind of see, could I get a second one or not? And
Right.
so it's the same credit card, it's the same billing address.
Mhm.
It's my wife's name instead of my first name, same last name,
Mhm.
different address. So I'm curious to see, because theoretically they should look at that as a duplicate and kick it
Yeah,
out and not
yep.
allow it.
Um,
But we're
I'm
going to
offended
test it out and see what
Frostbite said
happens.
it's not illegal, but Frostbite, rules are rules. I don't care any way you look at it. A rule is a rule. And sometimes, yeah, I don't think rules always apply to me. And yeah, I break them, but I don't admit that.
So
But rules
yeah,
are
so
rules.
there's breaking a rule and there's bending a rule, right? So just because I paid for 2 of them, I'm not keeping 2 of them. It's not really 2 per household. So it just depends on how you kind of, bend those things a little bit. OC Stacker wasn't awake,
It's however you
so
bend them to make
I got
yourself
one for
sleep
him.
better at night, surfer.
Yeah, I mean, I don't care. Doesn't
I'm
matter to
kidding, you
me.
guys. I mean, I don't care
Yeah,
either way. I'm just teasing who,
I know. I'm just saying
it's their own. I mean,
those are rules that you're bending there, right? There's no fast. It's they changed their own rules, right? They
they
changed it for
do.
the flowing hair, where
Yeah.
it was one per household, and later in the day, all of a sudden it opened up to an unlimited number that people could go
Okay.
grab.
Frostbite, do I speed? Yeah, because I think I'm a race car driver. Of course I speed.
Yep.
Do I have a glass of wine at dinner and then drive home? No, I don't, because I don't drink. I don't want to. I don't. I'm a lightweight, and I don't. I don't really like alcohol. I really don't drink. Um, and plus, I don't like the empty calories because I like to eat candy instead.
So Nick, why is this coin worth $105?
I don't
Which
think it
is
is.
quite a bit more.
I don't think it is,
Why are
but
they charging more than why are they charging
because of the different
$105 for
periods,
this
the
coin?
250th anniversary of the United States Army.
Do these typically go for more money than a normal Silver Eagle? I know the
Yeah,
Star one has had a lot of popularity to it.
it did, yeah. I don't know. I mean, and in the end, I don't know, because I don't think a lot of the mint products really gain that much in value over, we could look at what Morgans, we can, what they're going for. I mean, look it back and see how much more over what you paid, and that you can get them in a couple of years from now. If you can get them on the secondary market, you might be able to get it cheaper in a couple of years.
You might be able to. And so the other thing you guys will notice too, if we go to eBay,
Yeah, so Frostbite just confirmed that. Yeah, he thinks so. You're gonna be able to buy it on eBay, probably, or I don't know if eBay, and you may be able to find it cheaper on the secondary market is my guess. But of course, right now it's FOMO because of the low mintage, and because it is the 250th anniversary. So
look at this. They're not even. I mean, they did
for
a
now,
pre-sale, right?
right? But
They don't have these coins yet in hand, and someone's already selling a 69, which is
right,
funny.
and you may be able to do that within the first week or so. If you have there may be a window that a person can, get it graded, put it on eBay, and sell it for a lot of money. But I think that window is small.
So this is kind of ridiculous here. Someone going at 184 for it right off the bat, $200. but people will try, right? They'll try to see if they can get it, and if someone feels desperate enough to get it. I haven't heard that they're sold out, so this would be kind
Well,
of
it just said
silly.
currently unavailable. So right now they're sold out. There you can't buy anymore right now. It says currently
Are they? Did
unavailable.
they sell out?
Yeah, on the
Is that what it told
LinkedIn.
me earlier? Let's see.
Unless you go to remind me status, unless they pull out some more, can
Yeah,
they
currently
use
unavailable. So it looks like they
I'm
have
sorry.
sold out. So
Yeah.
there you go. You've got people that are going to try to flip them and do that. I don't know why this is so high. That's crazy.
And you know what? Frostbite, it's capitalism at its finest. So, really, if people have that opportunity to make a lot of money, let them do it. Because, if I did, I'd do the same thing. Because if somebody wants to pay that price, let them.
Let's see. There's also some deep cameo proof ones.
That's pretty, but so I
So
thought correct me if I'm wrong, chat, but I thought the US Army was a little bit older, like a year older than the country.
yeah, the
I
country's
think
not
it is.
250 years yet. That's
Okay,
next
but
July.
I think the Army is older than the
I think
country.
it's like
A year.
yep. Okay, so a couple other people that jumped in here. Hopefully I didn't miss anybody. Magic Moon, welcome. Thank you guys. Hit that thumbs up for sure. We've got Michael Porter's in the house. Welcome. He's been trying to get on a live chat for a long time.
He's
Keeps
awesome.
missing it.
I would like one of
Um,
those patches if you're able to get one, because I think those are cool.
that would be cool.
Carl?
And we've got Carl Godfrey. Welcome. Let's see. We've got QB Boogie. What's up?
Okay, so I guess I'm wrong.
Read that too fast.
I heard that fun fact and I guess you can't believe everything you hear. I heard that on a TV show. So
Let's see. What was the fun fact?
that I thought the Army was a little bit older than the country, but evidently Frostbite says I'm wrong. So thank you for correcting me. But that's what I again, it was on a TV show.
Well,
So
okay, look, here's technicalities. Nothing can exist before the country exists if it's the country's army.
what's that?
However, it depends on what dates you're looking at. Are you looking at the Declaration of Independence? Or are you looking at when the Constitution was signed?
Okay.
Are you looking at when the militias were started to fight the redcoats? What year do you want to use?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just something I heard. So
I've heard it. I did hear it started early too, but Mark's in the house.
okay,
Welcome,
so
Mark.
Frostbite just said that the Army is older than the Declaration of Independence. So what does that mean then?
Which do you go back to the Boston Massacre? Shortly after that, is that the date? I don't know either. So Michael Porter's not wrong here. Everything goes in cycles, guys. So one thing I'll tell you, Nick, is I'm seeing pre-33 gold at prices like people think they are plagued. It's as if no one wants them right now. And you can find some killer deals on pre-33 right now. There will be a time when people want pre-33 over bullion. It goes in cycles.
Okay, so I get that, but right now, regionally, I can tell you, I'm not finding those in my area.
Here, people are unloading pre-33 like crazy. You're getting it below melt.
So I'm seeing that's great, but it may be, depending on what region you're in as well, on what
It might be
fine.
For sure. It might be different, and then and it could even be different by city. Like you could get really regional with it.
Yeah.
There are times when 90% silver has ridiculous premiums. What was it 2 summers ago, Nick, where the Eagles were going for like 40.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
$45 or $42 or whatever it was, and silver was sitting in the low 30s. And you had constitutional silver was going for like 25, 26.
It was high 20s, not just even low 30. It was high 20s.
Yeah, high 20s. So there are some crazy times when that happens. So you guys need to kind of watch out for that. Okay, so tomorrow we'll find out if they have higher limit. They're still not sold out, just in pause for now on the Army privy. So maybe they had a lot of people complaining.
Why the moon does that.
I don't either. Michael Porter did get one.
So I think to be honest with you, I think like the Eagle Privy and the Star Privy, I think the Star
Yeah.
Privy was a
So
joke. I mean, seriously, that just
that one's dumb. That has no real
why
purpose
why
to
did
it.
they just slap a star on there? And even the Eagle. I mean, if they were going to be just doing like the Army and the Navy, I mean, the service, that would be cool. But now you have all these
Totally.
other things on top of that. It's
So
just
here's what we're gonna find out, Nick, is we're gonna find out if they cancel OC Stacker's coin as a duplicate.
I was
What if the one I ordered to his house goes through and his gets canceled?
I think because we need to cancel OC Stacker. He needs to be canceled.
That'll be funny. He'll just steal it. He'll be like, it never showed up. I don't know what happened.
That heathen.
Yeah, okay, fine. He's making a point about rioters and protesters. So
It's
that could
all
get a little
peaceful, though,
crazy.
right? It's peaceful.
Yeah. All right,
Peaceful
we're getting
fire.
caught up, guys. We're almost caught up here. All right, we've got Daniel in the house as well. Welcome. Uh-oh, fake
Oh, fake news.
numismatic. Well, I mean, look, they throw privies on things, guys, to make them special. But there's that, what is it, the anniversary of World War II Eagle that has a privy that goes for like $800 if it's a 70 grade. I mean, there's some crazy stuff out there. And then how about the privy that I pulled for the flowing hair?
Now
We
that
sold
was
that for like
different. I mean,
$6,800.
that was cool. Now I would love the US Mint to continue doing stuff like that. I think that makes I was excited again. I
It
actually
is. It's
started
really,
looking
it's
at the
really
US
cool.
Mint.
It's just,
Yeah.
I would have never thought that just that privy alone on there would add that much additional value to it.
Yes, but they did it with a V75. That was,
Yeah, the
um,
V75 is that one. Yeah, that's like six, seven, $800.
I mean, I wish the US Mint would continually do stuff like that. I was
Yeah, this
actually,
one here.
because I used to follow US Mint faithfully, and now, I mean, it's like I get my news, every once in a while from the US Mint because I don't care. It's boring. I mean, look at this. What is it? Is it Spider-Man, Superman that they're going to be doing? Are you going to buy that gold coin?
Okay, is that not what you were saying 1 year before? 1776, 1775.
He said, "No, I'm wrong."
So I'm not sure.
Mm.
But if it's those dates, then it should be a year earlier. And then Coast Guard, right there, Air Force. Obviously, we did not have airplanes when the country was formed.
When was the Coast Guard? What did you say the Coast Guard was?
48. Oh, Coast Guard is 47. Air Force is 48. Let's see. Planes were out before that, though. So here you go. Sold
I love
out,
the
and
Coast Guard will come
exchanges
up.
are offering 185 for them.
So the Coast Guard will come in to see. We're surrounded by water everywhere. I mean, even we get into my town, the only way in is on a bridge because we're got the river. But the Coast Guard will come in and with the ice cutters, it won't jam up downtown under the bridge. So it's kind of cool. It's not a big, coast. It's not a big one of those big ones, but it's fun to watch them. I have a little video on my channel of the Coast Guard breaking up some ice.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I haven't seen that before.
Yeah,
But yeah, it was the 230 privy, so 230 years from the time of the first flowing hair coin. All right, let's see, guys. Yeah, I would love to see ice breaking like that. Would be pretty cool.
Ice cutters, a big one, but it's neat how you do that. Yep.
Welcome, Steve. He's been doing that method for many years.
What's that?
So, like sending stuff to a friend's house.
Oh, I'm saying I'm not above that, you guys. I was just teasing Surfer. I mean,
I know she is.
I did that one time.
Look,
and it didn't
I
work.
don't need two of them, though. That's the thing. So,
because I ordered it and then I sent one to my house and I sent one to my mom's house, and of course it's the same card, but I even used my mom's name. But yeah, they canceled it. They did. So I only got one, and it was the
my guess is my second one's going to get canceled. It's the same credit card.
Yeah, it was
a pretty easy thing to validate.
It was a reverse proof Silver Eagles. that they came out with, and everybody thought that, oh my gosh, in a couple of years this is going to go up so much in value. Well, now you can go on get them much less than what you paid for them that day at the U.S. Mint.
And it can happen. So OC Stacker said he's going to send you some gold. I think that's what this comment is right here.
Well, OC Stacker, at least I have my mom. She loves me.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing though, Nick, to your point, I've bought a couple of those medals that come out every year for the Liberty medals.
Mm-hmm.
Or maybe is it Peace medals? I forget. I think it's Liberty, but um, they run like about 75, $80 for the coin. Well,
Mm-hmm.
actually it's a medal, not a coin. And that's about what they sell for at a coin show or at eBay. So, you could go buy like 6 of those. You could go buy 20 of them, maybe. You're not going to be able to turn around and flip them and make any money off of them after all the fees. So US Mint is making it very hard to make very much money off of stuff unless they do some kind of a special privy in the low mintage. That's kind of the only time you're really going to get it.
Yeah. I mean, coin collecting though is something that, where I'm not always looking to flip something, but sometimes it's nice to have something that you can flip so that way you can flip it and then buy something else that, to put in your collection that you normally wouldn't be able to afford. So it's not like I'm looking for stuff to flip all the time. That's not it. But that's another way to be able to make money, to put it into other things within the coin collection.
Yep, for sure. And then the other thing, you guys, just to be aware of when you're looking at all of this, is make sure you don't get too caught up in the collecting part of it if you're also stacking. It can get very easy to go after things that have higher premiums on them because they're fun to own and to buy. And a lot of times there's that drive of getting that thing that you want. At the end of the day, though, if you are consider yourself really a stacker, you've got to focus, in my opinion, more on weight than just getting a bunch of very expensive, $100 1-ounce silver coins.
Yeah, but I think that can
So
be a good, healthy mix of both, and that's really where
totally.
I stand. And so I'm not one or the other. I still love
But
coins.
percentage wise, how much of your percentage is collectible, premium stuff versus weight?
Okay, so maybe in the past year or so, I've more concentrated on weight, but that's because I really concentrated on my collection. The first like 4 or 5, I guess since 2020. But I mean, I started concentrating on weight more so in the past year, but I still don't pass up a numismatic coin that I want. But again, it's all what I can afford. And a lot of times I have, as I have a guy and I will sell stuff and make good money off it. And then I will do an upgrade. So it's not a lot of times I'm even pulling money out of my pocket. I'm able to sell something to upgrade that particular coin in my collection or whatever collection I'm starting or whatever particular numismatic coin that I want. But I don't stop looking for numismatic coins. But yes,
Totally.
I've been concentrating more on weight. But yeah, if I find something or I need something, I'm not gonna
And it
hold back.
depends on what you're doing from a collectible standpoint. If everything that you're buying is a lower mintage coin that was made this year that has Mickey Mouse on it, for example, or has Batman on it,
I'm
those
asking
coins
you.
really don't hold a large premium. They may have a little bit of a premium that comes out shortly after they're sold, and that's it. They stay there or they go down. What Nick's talking about is things like I guess a graded like
Walking Liberty, yeah. So
walking
yeah.
Liberty $half.
And those can get very
And
expensive, especially,
yep,
yeah. So
so you look for that. And then this comment here real quick from Michael Porter, we covered that at the beginning. um, Oil typically does follow gold, so it should be going up.
and to
um,
be honest with you, I did diversify. I have uh, do buy oil stock. I do not buy gold stock or mining stocks, but I do buy oil.
so Nick, do you have any barrels of oil at home,
No,
or do you just buy stocks?
stocks. That's all. I just buy.
Why not the barrel? Why don't you stack barrels of oil at home
because
like
I'm
you
not going to
stack
refine. I'm not
coins?
going to be able to refine it. I'm not going to be able to sell it. I'm not a gas station. Blah blah blah. I
Exactly.
mean, it's different.
It's a totally different thing. And so, one of the things I talked to SPP about last night too, on platinum, is platinum has some pretty crazy premiums on there right now. That's a metal that I would be a little hesitant on buying very much of, um, unless you've met all your stacking goals with gold and silver and you're looking more of an
Yeah.
investment and you can take the risk, because the premiums are pretty high on that. That's hard to move in and out of that metal compared to gold and silver. But there could be some good upsides.
I prefer the older Morgans versus the fake ones. I call them fake.
So here's an interesting setup: a silver gold 100, then 250, then 500, and 1,000 ounce thing collectibles. You can do whatever you want. It doesn't even matter. The fact
Yeah.
and thing to do is set a goal,
I was
and
just
it's a
going to
set
say,
of a strategy.
it's setting a goal and a budget. I mean, people don't realize I set a budget on everything that I do. I set a budget. So any type of extra I have, I can buy.
You're gonna have to read that one. That's funny.
Hey. Hmm.
Oh my gosh. Let's see. Yeah, I wouldn't stack crude oil, man. I have no way to refine that either. And there's probably a California law that doesn't allow you to do it, since you can't even store gasoline at your house
Yeah.
to have a lawnmower
Black gold,
anymore.
black gold, I mean, I got black gold and I got yellow gold.
But I think that's the key too when you look at it, guys, is gold and silver is not going to produce cash flow for you when it's sitting at your house until you sell it.
Well, neither is
And
stocks, really.
so it depends on what you need, right? If you need an extra $1,000 a month in income, you can take some of your assets and you can put them into dividend stocks. You can put them into
Yeah.
CDs. You can put them into bonds. I wouldn't recommend that right now, but you could. You could also put them into, high interest checking accounts, or savings accounts, and you could put it into a bunch of other kinds of assets that are out there, and it'll start to produce some cash flow for you.
Yeah, I say
And so,
my dividend stocks make me money while I'm sleeping.
yep,
But I mean, but that's something I contribute to monthly as well, because you can go on these accounts and you don't have to buy. You can even now buy fractional shares and then if they're dividends, you're just putting money back into that and just put a little bit of money into it each month. You can do as little as $20, and eventually you'll have that one share. But it's getting started. It's doing something, and then of course you've got dividends that you're going to be able to roll back into as well.
exactly. And so, if you're doing any stock stuff, I like to back it up with gold and silver physically, because you can have stock market crashes every once in a while, and you don't want to have to rely on your stocks to support you. There's times where you may have to do some other
Yeah,
backup
I don't
plans.
have enough stocks to support me. I mean, but
No, but like, let's say someone has been, for working 30 years, and they've been putting all their extra money in a 401k. Um, One of the reasons I don't do all of that is because I've seen people that end up going to retire during a crash,
yes,
and
I was just
it's
going to
they're
say,
they're crashed.
does everyone remember when we started talking about tariffs and all of a sudden gold went high and all the stock market just kind of, tanked a little bit. And that's all we heard at work was everybody, my 401k. And again, that's something that you look at. You don't look at it. You're supposed to look at it every single day. And of course, the market corrected itself very shortly thereafter. But in my mind, I'm thinking I'm going to go home and I'm going to purchase some more oil stocks right now because it just went down so low. Again, I look at stocks sometimes too as like, okay, it's time to buy. But you're holding on for that for years. So unless you put it into a Ponzi scheme, I can't imagine somebody losing their entire 401k.
It can be pretty crazy. So, if you have a lot of money in the stock market, I would definitely recommend getting a financial planner or advisor. Know that planners usually can get paid off of the amount of wealth you have and the increase.
That's right. And
Um,
watch your fees. Watch the people that you're hiring.
watch the
Do things.
fees.
Come on, do things yourself. We have brains. Start doing a lot of this yourself. I mean, I understand that
You
that can be
do.
a thing, but I mean, seriously,
Yep.
it's if you you want to learn about stuff before you actually, dive in anyways, because you want to know that your advisor's telling you is legit. I mean,
You do. So an advisor is going to be more like a stockbroker. They make money from trading.
yeah, they
They make
do.
money from the transaction fees and mutual funds and stuff. They can get very pricey. Most of what a financial advisor can do, you can learn and do on your own. A financial planner would be a little bit different. That's someone
Oh,
that's going to help you set up your game plan strategy
yeah.
of what you're going to do between now and the time you retire. And they can look at other things like gold and silver real estate and businesses and stuff too. But even at that, you want to watch fees because some of the stuff can get stupid crazy. I reached out to one a little while ago, and their fee is $6,000 a month, and I'm
Yeah,
like, okay, I'm not ready for
no,
that.
no, I'm
That's
not
not my
doing
thing.
that. No, I'm not doing that. And no. So I watch
Yeah,
what I'm paying people and, things that I can do on my own because believe it or not, yeah, I do change my own tire. I can do things. I could,
well, you should put that on YouTube. That would be amazing to see Nick change a tire.
I've done it on, yeah. Because I mean, I used to have OnStar and I'm like, I never use my OnStar except when I want to, now that we have,
Yeah,
GPS and all this stuff, I don't need the lady to talk to me, give me turn by turn directions. So, I
there you
mean,
go.
I had to, make sure my gas tank isn't on empty because then I know I can't call OnStar. That I always make sure now I got gas and because usually I'd be lazy about it. But when it's cold,
It's
I don't feel
awesome.
like getting out. So canceled my OnStar and I had to change my tire right
There you
after.
go. Well, Nick, I would love to keep going, but I've got to run to the bank before the banks close here
And
and
it's
get a
summertime
couple other
here.
things done. Yeah, that's awesome.
I know I'm hungry.
So, yep, you get to have dinner. I just had lunch a little bit ago, but I
Oh
want to thank
wow.
everybody for coming out.
Yes,
Nick, I
thank
want to
you.
thank you for jumping on here too. And you guys leave us comments, let us know any questions you have. We'll try to get back to you as fast as we can. And until next time, peace out.
Thank you,
Keep on
Surfer.
stacking. Thank you.
Bye.